OGJ, what's up, buddy? Great to see you, my friend. So excited for everyone to be here. Again, if you're here, feel free to say hi. Once the show really gets started into overdrive, I may not be able to interact as much as I love to. So, yo, Marge, great to see you. Thank you, Carmen San Diego. Appreciate you. Carmen just had an amazing show. I was so proud of her. Seriously, your show's great. Carnage, thank you for the favorite. Hello, Adora. Mandy, welcome everyone. So awesome to have everyone here tonight. Fire Girl, hello. Welcome to the show. Janie, hello. Seriously, I could do welcomes and just hellos for like an hour. That's just my personality for those who don't know. But let's kick things off. Thank you guys so much. This is an absolute honor and a privilege to be able to do this show we call Love Quest. Our intent is very simple. All we want to do for the next hour is deliver as much valuable information as possible. So if you're in the comments, feel free. You are a participant in our show. If you got questions, let us know. If you just want to say hi, say hi. This show is completely inclusive. We are on this journey together for the next hour, and I'm super excited. Now, this show I don't do alone. Some of y'all know her, and for those who get to have a sidekick, and the best sidekick I could ever ask for in my life, her name is Dr. Morgan. She's a clinical psychologist. She's a relationship coach. She's a dating expert, and she is here with me to help guide the conversation and really deliver as much value as possible. Tonight's topic is the 5 love languages. I don't know if I know them all. So this is really important for someone like me who may not know them all. So we're going to dive into it. And without further ado, it is my absolute privilege to welcome everyone to my partner in crime. No one I'd want to do this more with than Dr. Morgan.
Hey, Blake. I'm so excited.
Dr. Morgan. Hey.
Hello. Let's do this thing.
Your background looks incredible.
Do you like it? I changed my lighting. You like it? Okay.
Yes. And the fire? You got some fire behind you?
So that is a Himalayan salt lamp. It helps your breathing. Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay.
Oh my gosh. Okay. So we're talking the 5 love languages tonight. I want to know, drop in the chat, yes or no. Give us a yes if you know about the 5 love languages. I wonder.
And okay, Blake, so in the chat.
Okay, so a lot of people do, some people don't. Okay.
Oh, gee, thank you, Marge. Thank you. Okay.
We're going to definitely deep dive on them. We're going to teach you why you need them, and we're going to help you learn how to communicate them to your partner so you can get the kind of love that you want from your partner. So, Blake, let's quiz you. What are the 5 love languages?
Here's the thing about this show is I have no problem, my suffering. If it can help everyone else, I'm willing to go through it. All right.
Let's do it. Go.
I didn't study, so I know for sure quality time. I know that there's acts of some service. There's giving a gift. There is words that are important, words of affirmation.
Yep.
And there is one of the tough ones these days, but very important, physical touch.
Blake, you nailed it.
Yes.
You got all 5 of them. Oh my gosh.
There we go. I promise I didn't study.
I'm so proud. Good job, Blake.
Thank you.
Wow, that's awesome. So these are all ways that we can feel loved. And obviously in a relationship, you want to feel loved. You want to feel connected to your partner. But here's the thing, we all have different love languages, right? Based on the way that we grew up, our past experiences, the things that we're drawn towards, our personalities, who we are as people, we're all going to have a different love language. So it's so important that you know how you need to receive love, right? I know for myself, my top 2 are physical touch and words of affirmation. Yeah.
I would have failed that test. Those are your two?
You would have? Yeah, definitely.
Wow.
Definitely.
Super cool.
Yeah. Blake, do you know what yours would be? Have you ever taken a quiz? Do you have any insight?
Well, that goose gets me every time.
A goose.
Words of affirmation, 100%. I love talking
Yeah.
and I love receiving beautiful words, so I know that
Yes.
for sure. And but I
Yes.
feel like the number one for most people is quality time.
Ooh.
Ooh.
Yes.
Or drinking scotch.
Or drinking scotch. Hey, that's a love language in itself, drinking scotch. So, yeah, so we all have different ones, and it's so important that you know what yours is, right? Because that's how we build intimacy. That's how relationships deepen when we feel loved. So, I think it might be helpful to like give some quick examples of the different types. Okay.
Absolutely. This is the best thing about Dr. Morgan. She doesn't just talk theory, she actually gives like real live examples. I would love that.
Yeah, totally. And also, y'all, we want to answer your questions. So if you have questions about the 5 love languages, be dropping that in the chat. Thank you for the roses. So words of affirmation, let's start with that. That's basically when you are verbally expressing something that you appreciate about your partner. Maybe it's like something they did. It'd be like, hey, Blake, I really, really appreciate you and the way that you always send me a good morning text, right? Like,
gotcha.
You want to verbally express. People who like words of affirmation also like to hear like, I love you a lot. They like compliments. They like the verbal reassurance, right? Totally. Physical touch, I think, is a bit self-explanatory, but it doesn't have to be sexual, just to clarify. Like physical touch can just be a hug or hand holding, putting your arm around the person, right? But it's being able to like physically feel that closeness. So physical touch, receiving gifts. And I think gifts is one that people kind of get a little bit confused about.
So
they think
confused.
It has
absolutely.
It's like they think it has to be fancy. But people whose love language is gifts, it's actually about the thoughtfulness of the gift. Like, was it something like maybe Blake, you mentioned one time that you've always wanted a whiskey glass of a certain kind. And I was like, and I remembered it. And like 4 months later for Christmas, I got you that exact whiskey glass that you wanted, right? Oh, like that. Like that. So.
Oh man, we're gonna be drunk tonight.
It is the thoughtfulness. It is the thoughtfulness of the gift that matters, right? So that's an important distinction with gifts. And then quality time. Good Lord, quality time. Oh, that is also one of my, I'd say top 3 for me. But these days, quality time can feel hard, right? It's like you have to set your phone aside. You don't have distractions, and you are with that person. In the age of like having our phones always, I think quality time can feel hard. But people who really value quality time, they want that one-on-one time. They want that deep connection. They want to like know about what you're really feeling, what you're really thinking, right? Yeah. Oh,
totally.
Thank you. Yeah. So special moments together. That's like the person who's like, oh, I love long walks on the beach where we're holding hands and we're talking about our dreams for the future, right? Like they want that one-on-one intimate quality time. Okay. And then acts of service is the last one. So acts of service is, and this one I do not care about. Some people love this one. This is the bottom for me. This is this is like helping your partner out in some way. It'd be like, hey Blake, I know you're super busy, so I picked up your dry cleaning. Or like, I know you've been working a lot, so I did the dishes, right? So like you do things for someone. Yeah.
Got it.
So after that, everyone, we gave you a little explanation. Can you drop in the chat, like, what do you think your top love language is? Remember, we have words of affirmation, physical touch, receiving gifts, quality time, acts of service. Drop it in the chat. What do you think?
We got a lot of Kiki quality time, Kansas quality time, a lot of quality time.
Words of affirmation.
Cool. Words of affirmation. There we go.
So
I got a question for you though. So like, is it usually like you have a distinct like one of these 5 like above all else? Is it possible? Because Kim had a great answer. She said, equal, or like, is there a limit to like 3? Like, so curious about that.
So here's the thing. These are all great, right? Like all of us kind of want all these things, but there's going to be an order of how much they mean to you, the significance that it has to you. So yes, they're all great. We all appreciate all of them. And there's going to be an order. So as an example, Blake, when I work with couples, one of the things we do is we have them figure out the order of importance of these things. And then they share with each other, right? So like one person's partner may have physical touch at the top, and then the other person may have quality time, and they learn that. So we want to set you up for success so that you know what your partner's love language is, and knowing that that's part of what helps you have a great relationship. Because Blake and I don't want you to have okay relationships. We want you to have great relationships. And part of that is knowing your partner's love language. Yeah.
Let me ask you this question, Dr. Moran. I represent the single community on Mimi. There's a lot of us single.
Yeah.
Is this a date 1 conversation, or is this a little too much? You're getting drinks. This is date 1. Are you like, after where you're from and like, what's your favorite music? Are you like, hey, just so you know, words of affirmation and quality time are my love language. What about you? Or is that a little too much too soon?
You're like, where did you grow up? And what's your love language?
Yeah.
So, I mean, my honest opinion is that it probably depends on how the date is going. Like, I think it's something, if you are like towards the end of the date, it's going really well and the conversation's getting a bit deeper. It's a fun conversation, right? It's like, it's that deeper level of being vulnerable without being too vulnerable. So I think it's definitely end of first date or second date. Great question.
Gotcha. And it's not like you two need to match, right? Like, it's not like you guys need to match. It's just like your individual style. Okay.
Here's what I want to point out. And this is, I hope y'all can follow this. So just stay with me here. Most of us, whatever love language is most significant to us, that's the one that we want to do for other people. But here's the thing. Like, let's say physical touch is my top 1. And I'm like doing that for my partner, but their top love language is actually words of affirmation, right? So then I think I'm in this relationship. I'm always holding your hand. I always, but they're not getting what they need. So you have to think about this. How do I remove like what I would want and think about what my partner really needs, right? Yeah.
Dr. Morgan mic drop moment. You're going to hear a lot of them throughout the night. Yes. No, that makes a lot of sense.
That makes sense.
Absolutely.
Right.
And in a healthy relationship, I mean, it's a partnership here. And so if you're always thinking about yourself and what your needs are, this is a great opportunity actually to show your selflessness in a relationship.
Yes, Blake, exactly. And your ability to communicate really well, to show up in the relationship and want to really understand each other and communicate well, right? Yes.
Totally.
Like you're my best student.
I listen like I'm like you guys. Like when you start talking, I'm like full present. Seriously, I love what you're saying. Let me quickly pause for station identification. Hello everyone, if you're just walking in, this is a show called Love Quest. Dr. Morgan, clinical psychologist, relationship coach. I'm just Blake Creamer. We do this show every Thursday. And we talk about dating relationships. Tonight, we're talking about the 5 love languages. And if you're in the chat, feel free to ask questions you have or be part of the conversation. is all about you guys.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. I think that, you know, the five love languages is something that is simple, right? Like this isn't like it's not like rocket science, but it is something that is a game changer when you actually apply this knowledge to your relationship and you say, hey, you know, I want to make sure that we have a great relationship. I want you to feel valued. I want you to feel loved. Like, how can I help you feel that way? What do you need from me, right? Like, that shows that you're invested.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, I got to read this question. Blue Girl,
Okay.
amazing question. Dr. Morgan, can your
Yep.
love language change over time? Great question.
Ooh, that is a good question. I love that one. So, yeah, totally. It totally can. I think a lot of us will have one that we kind of gravitate towards most of the time. But as we get older, sometimes our needs change, right? Like a lot of times the love language is based on like what your needs are. So it can change. Yeah. Leah says that hers has changed. Yeah, for sure.
Gotcha.
You know what's interesting? I hear from a lot of moms, hear from a lot of, you know, women who are trying to balance career and have a marriage and be a mother, that theirs can change to acts of service. Because it's like, oh my gosh, my husband thought of helping out around the house. And that feels like, whoa, I'm seeing they're taking part of the load, right? So it can totally change.
Got you.
Yep.
One more question. Yeah, Sparkles asked Dr. Morgan, are there any great quizzes you recommend to help get insight into what our love languages are? I kind of had that same question. Like,
yeah, there is actually. So if you just Google 5 love languages quiz, just Google that. It is by Gary Chapman, who wrote the book on it. His website comes up and you can take the 5 love language quiz, like the legit quiz. It's just 5lovelanguages.com and then that quiz comes up. So do it and then let Blake and I know what your love language is for sure. Leia's doing it again. Cool. Good. Yeah. Yeah. And then honestly, so I want you to keep in mind, like when you're building intimacy with your partner, like let's say it's like month, like, you know, 2 or 3 and things are getting more serious, maybe 6 even. This is such a fun activity to do together. Like take the quiz together and share your results, right? Like it's a great intimacy building activity. Yeah, great date night, exactly. You can make it fun, right? You can make it totally fun.
Make it like a drinking game.
Yeah. And you know, here's what I want to say. A lot of people get really comfortable in relationships, and that's why, like, you know, 7 years in, a lot of times people have a lot of difficulty. But this is one of the ways to do preventative work on your relationship. If you can know your partner's love language and commit to honoring that consistently, getting creative, right? Like you will so help with the longevity because both people then feel appreciated.
Dr. Morgan, love it.
Yeah. Yeah. So is it that time, Blake?
I think it's time. I think it's time. So here's the thing. We do this twice in the show. This is our world famous role play. And as Chris Casper said, it is Meet Me appropriate role play. So
that's right.
Just so you always know, we keep it very PG. And we will be doing this twice. So if you like this, stay tuned. Yeah, later on in the show, we'll do another one.
Yes, I love it. I love it. Oh, Blake, you're my favorite pretend boyfriend ever.
As long as we're not breaking up or something. It's just tough for me.
So good. So good. All right. Let's do it. Let's do it. Hey, Blake.
Hey, Morgan. How are you?
I'm good. It's so good to see you.
I agree. It's good to see me too. But yeah, really good to see you.
So I was wondering, would you be open to a conversation?
Sure. What's up?
It's a good time to talk.
It's a great
Yeah.
time.
Okay. So Blake, I know that it's the Miami Dolphins season and they're playing a lot, and I know you love football. You care so much about it, and that's
True.
great. I do. I think that's wonderful. Um, and and I feel a little bit disconnected from you. I feel like I'm not getting enough quality time with you lately.
Gosh, you really feel that? Yeah, it's football season, so I got to go watch football, and I need to go out with my friend Jameson. You know how we do. I need to go out with my friend Jameson. You know how we do. Like, we go out, we drink a little scotch together. It's just something we do when we're out. It's just so delicious. So we have to do that when we're out. Yeah, we have a couple glasses together. I didn't think it was a big deal. He drinks scotch, I drink wine, and yeah, we just have a great time. But I thought it's football season,
Blake, I hear you, and I totally get that that is important to you, and I understand it. And I feel like I need some one-on-one time with you because when I try to speak with you when the game is on, I just feel like we don't really hear each other, we don't really connect, and I'm really missing that part of our relationship. Like I really want to feel close to you.
I hear what you're saying. Like, when we're watching football and the receiver doesn't catch the ball and I go crazy, it distracts me from interacting and being present with you and actually enjoying our time together. I hear you.
Thank you. Thank you. I really appreciate that. Would you be open to having a date night, just the two of us really soon and like no football on?
All right. That sounds great. No football. Me, you, we're going to Nobu. I already got reservations. Let's go.
Oh, yay! No.
This is kind of Nobu. Yeah.
My
They serve a
favorite.
delicious lobster dinner.
Great job, Blake. Great job. I love it. Wow. And the long-term people who watch the show know we referred to Nobu before, so.
Thank you. No, and I would love for you to bring this to life because truly, 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 you do an amazing job of expressing, I guess some sort of concern in a relationship, but not coming off in a way that puts me off. Like you never put me off. You never, I don't know, blame me or make me feel bad. I would love for you to explain how you just did that.
Yeah. So it's this thing that we definitely want to teach you all as you come to our show more and more. It's this incredibly life-changing, powerful tool that's called dialogue, where you're focusing on using I statements. You're using I statements. You're making sure you validate the other person. You're expressing your needs confidently, but not in an aggressive way, not in a passive-aggressive way. You're simply saying, I feel this way when you do this thing. And this is what I need, right? Thank you.
Gotcha.
Thank you, Raquel Blolly.
Okay, so that's what disarms me. Okay, because the fact that you're making it about how you're feelings, that's what does it didn't at all.
Yeah.
Okay, got it.
Yeah. You'll notice, I don't ever use like you statements, right? I'm always saying, I feel this way. And then the cool thing is like, I'm vulnerable because I'm saying, I want to feel close to you, right? Like I'm expressing that desire for closeness. And definitely when someone's talking to us and they're expressing that desire, we're so much better able to hear them. Yeah. Thank you, everybody, for the hearts. That's so sweet. So yeah. Awesome. Great job, Blake.
Great job, Dr. Morgan. That's not the only role play you'll see tonight. So if you enjoyed that, we have another one. Yeah, so stay tuned. More to come in that respect.
Of course.
Should we get to our guest?
Let's do it. We have an amazing guest. I'm so excited.
I couldn't be more excited. He has his name in the title, and I went to his live. This was like a month and a half ago because I saw his name. I was like, Mr. Nice Guy. And then I went to his live, and I was like, He really is Mr. Nice Guy. He is the truth. So
he lives up to the name. Yes,
he
I
lives
love
up to the
it.
name and then some.
Yes.
And so when we talked to
Yes.
him, yeah, he's got a lot of valuable experience. Would love his thoughts on what we discussed. So, Dr. Morgan, it breaks my heart, but for just 5 minutes, I gotta
Yes.
get you out of the box for just 5 minutes and bring up my amazing friend, Mr. Nice Guy.
I'll be back. I'll be back.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, the man, the myth, the legend, the truth, Mr. Nice Guy. Wow, never mind. Mr. Nice Guy, I think maybe I did too much hype. Please request the guest box again. The guest box is like, yo. But it's all true, I promise. All right, here we go. I'm bringing him up right now. Mr. Nice Guy, welcome to Love Quest.
Thank you, Thomas. Charles.
Yes. How are you, my friend?
Good, man. How you doing?
Doing
many
great.
Kind words. I appreciate you for the kind words, and you know I feel the same about you, man. I love you,
100%
man.
comes from the heart. For those who don't know you, please do a little quick introduction. Let them know who you are.
Okay. I'll tell a little bit about myself. Not gonna tell my government name, but I'm Mr. Nice Guy. I'm an electrical engineer by trade. I'm a military vet. I've been to Afghanistan, Iraq quite a few times, you know. Currently reside in Texas. Yeah, I don't know. And I'm a nice
Gotcha.
guy.
Super cool. Yeah, your background's incredible. And talk to us. So when we were talking, this topic was relevant to you because you've had some personal experiences with what we've been discussing.
Yes, very relevant. I actually took the five love languages, and read the book and took a class on it back in 2008, I believe. So it's been out for quite some time, and you learn a lot about yourself, not only yourself, but your partner, you know. So it was very eye-opening to learn about myself by just taking a test. You think you're just answering some questions, and then it's like, yeah, so like my top two are words of affirmation and physical touch, you know. So, and I sit back and think about it, I'm like, yeah, that is absolutely true, you know. Because I'm a giver in every sense of the word. I get pleasure out of making people happy, if that makes sense. So it feels good for someone to say, "Oh my God, thank you so much. I appreciate that," and that makes me feel like job well done, you know. But another thing I learned with that is the opposite of that can be destructive. So if your partner needs to know that if your partner is not, if they're doing quite the opposite of your love language, it's very destructive, and it could leave you feeling unheard and resented or resentful if they're not receiving it or trying to make an effort to understand your side of things. And that's something Dr. Morgan pointed towards is you have to understand how your partner receives it. So it's not just because, like she said, you want to give love in the way you receive it, but it doesn't mean anything to them. Like, if someone needed, what was one of them? Quality time is one of my top ones too, but acts of service, that's not really high on my level. So to me, somebody does something for me, I'm like, thanks, you know.
Yeah.
But the words of affirmation and the physical touches, I'm really big on. So I have to keep reminding myself that's what I need to do to make my partner happy. You know what I'm saying? So,
Gotcha.
yeah.
Oh, Mr. Nice Guy, you're not just a guest. Like you are bringing some like really, really insightful stuff to the table. Do you have like a personal story or something you want to share, like related to everything you just talked about?
Yeah, so I was married for 11 years. So there's a lot of growing pains with that, a lot of understanding, and just as I said, as far as it being very destructive and can leave you with a feeling of resentment, um, my ex was a very critical person, super hypercritical, even when it wasn't necessary. And I understood that her love language was acts of service. So one day I worked like a 16-hour shift. So I got home on Sunday morning as her and the kids were going to church. So instead of go to sleep, I went grocery shopping. I made an entire dinner. I spent hours, did not go to sleep, and had it all set up, everything. So excited. And then when she got home, she looked at it and I was like, ta-da. She was like, that chicken doesn't look done. And that's all she said. There was no thank you. There was no anything. So that's part of the opposite of making it destructive, in that it can hurt you even deeper. You know what I'm saying? So I learned that as well. So it's a learning experience, and you try to communicate that to them in the way that they understand it, in the way they receive it. You know, so yeah.
Got you. So you feel like going into your next relationship now, oh, Mr. Nice Guy, we got to get you back up. Man, such a sweet dude. And being vulnerable as well. Like, we are so grateful for those who come to our show and, get vulnerable with us so we can all kind of learn together. So I'm excited to bring him back up, see what else he's got to the table. And whoa, dinosaur in the building.
Happen. But yeah, absolutely, going into another relationship, you do. Because I had a relationship of 5 years after that, and hers was actually acts of service. And it was ridiculous to me, and I had to catch myself. It was like, if I didn't take out the trash, she didn't feel loved, or she felt like a disconnect. So I had to, it's ridiculous as it seemed to me, I have to understand that's what she needs, even though it makes no sense to me, So definitely coming in with, and then I take the test every couple years, because it can change over time. Like Dr. Morgan said, you can get to the point where you're at a different point in your life, and the quality time is more important than words of affirmation. It can completely shift everything.
Gotcha.
Absolutely.
Makes so much sense. Listen, okay, so you heard the amazing Dr. Morgan talk. Is there anything you're going to leave with, like, after her discussion, like something that like stood out that you're like, okay, I just learned something new tonight? Like,
not that I can think of. She's
gotcha.
very, no, you know what? I can't say that. When you were doing the role play and how she was talking about disarming
Yes.
a person, and that's the most important, that's very important. So they don't become defensive and reclusive and, reject it, because you have to find out the way that your partner is more receptive and disarm at that time. So that's very important. That's very important.
So true. Before you go, any last words / do you have a question as you head out for Dr. Morgan?
I don't have any questions. I'm just looking forward to hear what else she has to say. I'm a student of myself, first off, because you have to understand yourself and be brutally honest with yourself so you can grow. And I'm an open book, so I'm just looking forward to it. I just want to say, I think you are an awesome person, man. You inspire me to continue to try to be a good person among like so many people with bad intentions on this app and everything. So, and I appreciate you giving me this opportunity, man.
Absolutely. Seriously, when I knew we had our debut show, I was like, we got to get Mr. Nice Guy. Like, we got to get him on the show. I would love to go on a trip with him. I mean, we could have fun no matter where we go on a trip,
man.
even if we're going all the way to France. Is that France?
Absolutely.
Or Egypt.
Nice.
Okay. That's a sign, my friend.
That's awesome. We got to book that trip, man. We got to book that trip.
Mr. Nice Guy, you're the best, man. If you're in my stream, please make sure you favorite Mr. Nice Guy. He is like this all the time, because that's who he is. And I appreciate you so much, man.
I appreciate you too, man.
All right. Bye-bye,
All right.
Mr. Nice Guy,
Okay.
my great friend, and just an all-around amazing dude. Seriously. So awesome. And thanks for coming on and being so vulnerable. Like, that's amazing. All right. Dr. Morgan, let's bring her back up. Clinical psychologist, relationship coach.
Wow.
What a guy.
Mr. Nice Guy. He is so amazing.
know.
And I just once again want to say thank you for your vulnerability. We so appreciate you. I know that anytime that someone shares a story like that, so many people can relate. So thanks for being super vulnerable and sharing. And I think that was a great story about how important it is to have your love language known by your partner and appreciated. And Mr. Nice Guy, I know there's an amazing woman out there for you. I hope that Blake and I can help you on that journey. Let's go.
Yes, we'd love to be at that wedding.
Hey, that would be fun. That would be so fun. I do want to like preach just for a little second. You know, I love to do that. So
Please.
I want to say this, that when you are in a relationship, particularly if you have anxious attachment style, and maybe you kind of have this belief of like, I don't want to be too much, I don't want to be too needy, etc. Like sometimes you might have a fear of expressing your love language or a fear of asking for what you need. So I just want to gently challenge you all that when you are in a relationship and it is the right relationship for you and it is a healthy relationship and it's going to be long term, you absolutely 110% have the right to ask for what you need, to tell your partner what your love language is, right? Like everyone is deserving of a partner that's going to show up in the relationship and be curious about what their love language is. Okay, that's my rant.
No, that makes so
Yeah.
much sense. And all about that
Yes.
communication.
Yeah, you deserve people who are going to show up for you, who are going to be curious about what you need, and they're going to want to make sure that you're getting what you need, right? And you're going to do the same for them. That is all about reciprocal. You want people who are going to do reciprocal energy, exchange with you in the relationship. If you know your partner's love language and you're doing all the things and you're showing up for them and they're not doing that for you, then maybe it's time to evaluate that relationship,
Shaky Noodle has a question. I think that's just on that. She says acts of service is pretty high on on the list for me, but I feel uncomfortable asking for someone. I feel uncomfortable asking someone for that.
Yeah, so I want to acknowledge that it's part of growing in the relationship. It's part of building the intimacy. It's part of getting closer to somebody. So, you can say it in a way of like, hey, I really want to make sure we're both getting our needs met. This relationship is going great, and I want to even deepen it and make it better. Like, let's have a conversation about what our needs are. And then you can say, I feel so appreciated and loved by you when you do acts of service for me, when you, do the dishes, or when you pick up the dry cleaning, right? Like, it's all about how you word it, and you got to express it with confidence. That's how you express it too. Like, hey, I'm worthy of this. I know I'm worthy of it, and I'm going to tell you what I need, right? Not like, oh my gosh, will you do the dishes for me? Like it's all about how you express it too.
Absolutely. And I feel like what you're saying, if it's said in a way that's like, you want to grow with the relationship, it's like, that's why you're saying it. The intent is like to grow together.
Yes.
That's so different than like, you're in the wrong and like, I'm, upset kind of stuff. Right?
I'll tell you how most people do it.
Okay.
This is what not to do. You ready for what not to do?
Yeah.
Blake, you're not going to like it.
Oh no.
So a lot of people are like, if I was doing with Blake, I'd be like, you never take out the trash. You never help out around the house.
True.
You clearly don't care about me. So I don't even know why I'm still dating you.
Oh. Well, you do like my dance moves. Like, that's what gotcha.
That's what most people do, y'all.
Dang.
So don't do that. Don't do that. Use I statements. Use I statements, right? Express how you feel. Express why it matters. Express the goal of it.
No, because if you went down that route, yeah, I would probably get defensive in return, just because like you came at
Yeah.
and it would start.
We've
I'd
all
be like,
been
"What?
there.
I don't care about you. You know I care about you.
Yeah.
I made you dinner last night."
Yeah, then you can start getting defensive. Yeah, and it spirals from there, right? So anyways, that was what not to do.
Are we gonna do a role play on what to do?
Let's do a role play on what to do, y'all. We got to make up for the what not to do. So let's do it.
Blake.
Let's do
The
it.
role reverses. Now it's time for me to see if I can implement Dr. Morgan's incredibly high standards.
You're the best student. The best. You got this. You got this. I believe in you 100%.
All right, here we go. Hey Morgan, how are you?
Hey Blake, good to see you.
You too. Do you have a minute to talk right now?
Oh, sure. Yeah. What's up?
Awesome. Well, I love spending time with you. I think we have just the best time together, and it is really fun. When we're not together and you send me like a sweet text, it just makes my day. It really does. So, yeah, I just wanted to express that to you and see if when we're not together, if you could send me, something cheerful, just let me know you care. Like that would mean the world to me, and it makes such a big difference in my day.
Blake, I'm just terrible with my phone. Like, obviously I care about you. I just don't have my phone on me. And I don't know, like you want me to text you?
I hear what you're saying, that you don't always have your phone with you. I get it. And I know you really value quality time. Like I know you value us together when we're together. That's really important to you. Just like you value that quality time, for me, I value your sweet words. They make me as happy. They make me super happy. They just make my day. And so, yeah, I just wanted to express that to you and let you know where I'm coming from.
Okay. I hear you. So it sounds like it's really important to you when I express myself verbally and tell you things I appreciate about you or, ways that I'm thinking of you. Is that right?
Gets me pumped. And yeah, I love being pumped, and your words can do that for me.
Okay. I will work on it. I will send you a text right now and I will tell you how good looking you are and we will go from there.
Sounds great.
Yay, Blake! Blake,
all right, talk to me.
How was that for you? How was that for you? Like, just share.
I liked it a lot. I mean, we did go over this a little bit beforehand, and again, that's me taking your learnings into consideration because I was able to kind of express it in a way that was, again, I was not attacking. I was just letting you know where I came from. So yeah, I really loved that I was using I statements, and I tried to use the I statement model.
Yeah, you definitely used the I statements. And then I think it was like the second time around, you were like more clear on why it was important to you. Mm-hmm. I think that's kind of like a note, right? Like anytime there's an ask for our partner, we want to explain why it matters to us, right? So it's like, hey, I need more verbal affirmation from you, or I would really value more compliments or more encouragement, etc., because it makes me feel so good, right? And then when you say that, it's like, oh, okay, I want to do that. I want to make you feel good. So it's really important to say why, like why it matters.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
That makes a lot of sense.
You did great.
Thank you. What about with Mr. Nice Guy's statement? Because he brings up a good point. Like, I feel like I have dated people in my past too who like can be a bit critical. And for me, like, that is tough. Like, it's not my favorite thing, but how do we kind of balance,
Really?
as you know,
Yes, I
the
know.
whole street knows that. But, yeah, I don't know. Like, how do you kind of balance, how do you kind of balance that situation?
So, and when you say critical, do you mean like saying like things that you're not doing right, or being like,
yeah,
okay. So I think so many of us really don't like, having a critical exchange, especially in a relationship, because we all want to feel secure in the relationship. We want to feel like, oh, things are going great, right? So this is totally normal. I just want to validate that. Like, you are not alone. And it would be important to communicate about it. So, like, let's say you were being critical to me.
Yeah.
I'd be like, which would never happen, right? We know, but let's just say, I would say something like, hey, Blake, when you criticize me, I feel really worried about our relationship. It really hurts me. And I want to let you know, I actually have a hard time listening to what you're saying. And I want to be able to hear what you're saying, but I feel like the way it's being delivered, I can't take it in. Right?
So good. So seriously, I think before Dr. Morgan, like, someone like me or maybe others might be a little bit passive aggressive. And I think you're the opposite of passive. You're like, don't bottle up your feelings, don't call your friends, and like, express it, but express it in a way that doesn't also put that other person off. Yeah, I get it. That's awesome.
Exactly, Blake. Exactly. Open, honest, direct communication. Like, I'll say to people like, hey, you want to show up as an adult in the relationship. You expect your partner to do the same thing. Like, both of you show up as adults and you express how you feel. And here's the thing. You express how you feel so that your partner can hear it. Because so many of us just focus on expressing ourselves. We just want to get it out. Maybe we're scared, so then it just comes out really quickly. But no, say, how can I express myself so that the other person can hear it? And we all have different ways that we're better able to take things in. Like, I know Blake well enough to know that, like, he really likes words of affirmation, compliments. Like, you thrive off of that, right? So you have to, like, know your partner. I always talk about, like, it's like a communication sandwich. Like, know what kind of sandwich does your partner like? Like, do they, like the Reuben? Are they, I can't think of a grilled cheese person. Like, you got to know, like, how are they going to be able to take it in, right?
So true.
Yeah. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, that makes perfect sense. I really like that a lot. For you, I know physical touch is important, so I'd probably, hold your, give you a quick hug or hold your hand or just let you know real quick in a physical that, I love you, and then I move on. We've got 10 minutes left in this show, so we're moving fast. Here's the deal. If you've got a question, we are going to be super present right now in the comments. I mean, if you want to be brave, we may be able to bring someone up on video if you want to do that, but no worries on that. Just, in the comments in these last 10 minutes, like, seriously, we would love to answer any questions or anything like that.
I love seeing all the sandwich comments. That's hilarious.
Sasha,
you guys are
chicken
cracking me up.
sandwich with the side of compliments.
Side of compliments. Sounds like Blake.
I love it.
I saw Kansas had a question. She says, she says, what does it mean when two of your love languages are close in percentages when you take the test?
So, good question.
Yeah, so it totally can happen where you have some that are close, and that is normal. So what you want to do is just honor that, right? And when you're telling your partner, you're just going to say, like, hey, these are my top two. They're pretty close. And then it just gives your partner more ways to be creative with you, right? They're like, oh, she likes this and that. So it's a great problem to have, Kansas. So just make sure you express that.
Blue Girl asked a great question that I know you touched on a little bit, but it was so good. I would love to hear it again. So how does Dr. Morgan define quality time? Phone, text, in person?
So, it's interesting, like quality time is really that deep connection, right? Like there can be some phone calls where you are with that person, or sometimes you call them and they're watching the Miami Heat game and then they're kind of like only half listening to you.
Ups. True.
That was last night. Anyways, but no, sometimes phone can be like really good quality time. It's all about, are you both present, right? And I know we've actually talked about how this platform, being able to use video, is a great way to have quality time, even when you can't be physically with a person, right? So like we have body language here, we can see each other, we're connecting. So there's all kinds of ways to create quality time, but the most important thing, no distractions, and you are just with each other.
Yeah. Man, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
That quality time is so important. I agree. And NorCal says, I feel the connection right now.
That's right. That's right. This is quality time with you all. Like Blake and I are here giving y'all quality time. Like we are so present for you. So
absolutely,
I love it. I love it. Eye contact. Oh, that's a big one actually. Like, yeah, when it's quality time, you're like eye contact. You're really present. Like, it's like you're validating what the person says so that they know that you heard them, right? Yeah.
Here we go. Blue Girl, I know she's touched on physical touch, but what if you aren't comfortable doing that in the early stages? Great question. Great question.
Ooh, that's one of my favorite metaphors that we will definitely talk about at some point, but it's the relationship investment pool.
Ooh,
right?
Love the pool.
I think the intimacy onion also works well in that one as well. With physical touch, it doesn't have to be sexual. It can be like literally a handhold, but also, yeah, you don't want to rush into it, right? Like physical intimacy is something that takes time to build, and when we're building the long-term healthy relationship, we're building it slowly with consistent deepening of the vulnerability that is reciprocal, and it happens over time. So we definitely don't want you to rush into physical intimacy. Yeah.
Sasha asked a really tough one. This is going to be a tough one, Dr. Morgan, but it's really good. What's the best way to work with your significant other when they get defensive right away when you try to bring up an issue? It's a great question.
Ooh. I just want to say I have so much compassion for you, and I think so many people can relate to that, and just knowing that is really, really hard. And here's what you can do about it. So you want to do what Blake and I did. If you notice, I always say, hey, are you open for a conversation? So there's always an invitation, right? And then you want to be able to use the I statements. You want to say, hey, I feel this way.
Yep.
And then you might have to say, I feel really left out by you, or I feel really unheard by you, because every time we try to have a conversation, I feel that you get defensive, right? So I feel really hard, or I feel like, oh gosh, I feel like it's really hard to stay in this relationship with you when I can't express how I feel and you don't hear me, right? Like you have to call out the process, because if somebody gets defensive and they're not willing to ever show up in conversations with you, how can you have a relationship? That's not a relationship, right? Like, you have to be able to have conversations, and you all deserve people that are going to have conversations with you. So expect that. Expect that.
Morgan, another mic drop moment. This one's a lot lighter of a question. Sparkles asks, are there any exercises you recommend to work on accepting others' love languages?
Yeah, so you can make it so fun, you guys. You can make it so fun. Jameson's cracking me up, by the way. But you can make this fun. Like, have little sticky notes. You know, like some couples will have like a little book that they filled up with like things that they would love, you know. So like, teach your partner, right? The Gottmans, they're this psychologist couple, and they have a whole book on couples therapy. But anyways, they talk about this concept called love maps. And when you're in a relationship with someone, you're getting to know their love map. Like, what is it that makes them feel loved? And you have to get really curious about that, right? Like, curiosity. You never fully know your partner, and you can never stop getting curious about how to make them feel loved, you know? So always be curious about how to make them feel loved, and that is the recipe for a long-term, healthy, great relationship.
Curiosity.
Anyway.
Absolutely.
Curiosity.
So good. All right, we got like one or two more questions. So Orange asks, I find compliments / words of affirmation challenging because I feel like they can manipulate. I was taught actions over words.
That's a great example of how our experiences and our beliefs shape our love languages, right? So for you, words aren't the way to building intimacy with you. You do value actions, right? So there's so many things that go into what our specific love language is, and that's a great example. That's a belief that you were taught. So and I think for a lot of people who have experienced, you know, maybe some difficult relationships, and maybe they have had people who have said things and then not followed through, it makes sense that maybe you don't have as much trust in words, and you really do need behaviors. But then maybe as the relationship deepens and there's more trust, you will value the words and you will appreciate it. But it probably takes time for you to be able to accept the words. Yeah.
Dr. Morgan, that I think we got it. I mean, that is a beautiful, beautiful way to end this. Unless you have any final words, you know, anything you want to leave us with. I mean, Dr. Morgan, time is time. So.
You know, I think it was so funny. I just want to say, like, when Blake brought up this topic, the 5 love languages, I was like, man, I talk about this all the time. Like, this is, you know, I was kind of like, I don't know. But the reality is it is such an important topic.
Yep.
And I think tonight we really touched on how you need to have great communication to go along with the 5 love languages. Because if you know what your love language is, but then you can't communicate it, it's not any good to you. So great communication and know what your love language is. Yeah. And don't be afraid to ask for it, because you all deserve to have that feeling of being loved in your relationship. So ask for what you need.
So good. Now, the only other question that continuously has come throughout the whole show, literally, I've seen it at least 5 times, is, Dr. Morgan, how can people like find like more of your advice, or how can they like stay
I love that. I love you all. I love this community. Come say hi. So I'm on Instagram at Dr. Morgan Coaching. It's Dr. Morgan Coaching. And then I have a podcast, which actually just hit 50,000 listens the other day.
Congratulations.
And y'all, there was an episode with the one and only Blake Premier. Thank you. So come listen to episode 40, where Blake gets super vulnerable about his dating life, the deets. the deets. And yeah, it's called Let's Get Vulnerable. It's available everywhere podcasts are aired. So check it out. And you know, Blake, I do 2 episodes a week. There's so much free, valuable content on there. I feel like if you like tonight, you'll definitely love the podcast for sure.
So good. Let me do a quick shout out to those supporters. Thank you so much. Jameson, #1. Thank you, buddy. NorCal Blonde. Thank you. Thriving, Carmen, Paley, Chris, Nicole, Roxy, Marissa, Delicate. Thank you guys so much for the love. I get to share that love. Thank you so much. I have to warn everyone to cover your ears. We are so incredibly thankful and honored to be a featured show. We're going to continue to deliver this content. We had to do something to just say thank you and celebrate. So again, please cover your ears. This is dangerous. You're not supposed to do this inside, but I don't care. Chris Casper is sending confetti. I'm going to do some real confetti.
Here we go.
Really dangerous.
Woo! I love it. That's amazing. Yeah, I just want to say huge thank you to you, Blake. You're amazing for bringing all these people together. And huge thank you to all of our supporters who have been there from day one of this show. And really so much gratitude for this community, people who genuinely want to have great relationships. You know, you're in the right place. And we so appreciate your vulnerability in sharing your stories. That's what makes this show great, when you're vulnerable. So just so much love. And Blake, thank you for being my partner in this. It's so fun.
100%. And it's an honor of a lifetime. Shout out to Mr. Nice Guy. Love you, man. Shout out to Dr. Morgan. An honor to do this with you. And shout out to the Meet Me community. We do this for you guys. We love you guys. Like, this is an absolute pleasure and a privilege to do this.
All right.
We're going to end this show. I'll be coming back later on a little bit with an after show. So if you want to hang out, we'll do that. But this will officially end the first official show of Love Quest. We'll be back same time, same place next Thursday. Let's do this. Dr. Morgan.
All right. Appreciate you all. We'll see you next week. Can't wait for next week.
Absolutely. Bye, Dr. Morgan. Bye, everyone. See ya.